everybody. I was going to get ready to pray. Been up for a few hours. And I said, man, I want to start praying today. I'm going to upload a teaching video, and then I'm going to just upload this today. But I was thinking that I'm going to go to my daughter's place and put some more no trespassing signs, because somebody entered her property and went into her house. And then a few days later, the Jim Wells deputy was caught breaking law. Breaking law. Putting their uniforms on for the one intent: to commit crime, to break law, and to use all of the resources they have, time, vehicles, dispatch, to commit criminal acts, and then to pursue all of those in society who report their criminal acts. I saw an article in the paper. They're still, yesterday I think I read it, they're still looking for a police chief. I don't know who would take this job here. My friends, a lot of my friends know things. The federal vehicles that federal authorities use. The federal authorities, when you see them in a city, they're in a city for one purpose. They're not in a city for, people that have been in drugs for years. This is a plague in our country. They're in a city for one purpose, because there's corruption in the city department. Crimes, nonstop, sun up, sunset. That's why they come to a city. But my friends told me this is not new. John, we see the feds all over. The feds are all over. And, my friends they're drug addicts. They struggle. I prayed with Jimmy yesterday and spent time with Jimmy. He's scared, John, I know. What's he scared of? He says, Jimmy's got a Mormon background. John, do you believe in the Mormon? No. But I work with everybody. He said, John, I'm afraid in his understanding, but basically he said, I'm afraid I won't, be in the urban. I'm afraid I won't make it into the closest presence of God. And I'm scared, John. I heard Preacher Ray, Brother Ray, he remembers that sermon where Jesus said, some won't make it. I'll say to them, I never knew. And Jimmy was crying. Why? Because he's afraid he's going to get busted by the feds. Look, a Fed vehicle was right by his apartment last week. And I go visit Jimmy, and, people might think I look suspicious. I dress in black. Everybody, these cops have investigated. All of my friends, is John using his... No, he's straight. They know. So why's he helping you guys? He believes in what he's doing. So they know. But Jimmy said, man, the feds are right outside my place like 2 weeks ago. They use vehicles that everybody... They do it on purpose. They put city and county law enforcement on notice. We're here. Because you guys are so connected with criminal activity. The only way we can stop your local agencies, but the public is just absolutely not aware of this. Moving violations. A few years ago when I had a lot of the stuff, I didn't want to drive. And I got rid of my vehicles. I was going to move to New York too, but I used a bus for about a year, and I walked. Because criminals, by definition, these are the deputies and cops wearing uniforms. Criminals, what they'll do is they will pursue a vehicle and ride the bumper of the vehicle for 10, 15 miles to try to get you to either move, any excuse they can get. You saw some of these things. You didn't follow me for many miles. And this actually was Jim Wells at the time, a few years ago. Jim Wells County. Miles. I'm the only one doing the speed limit, by the way. Everybody else is, 5 miles over, not me. And to them, though, that looks suspicious. And then I was moving from a lane. Gotcha. Pull it over, you motherfucker. We got nothing better to do with our jobs, running around with guns, making your friends give me fucking blowjobs. That's us, cops, deputies. That's us. John, I'm a Christian, and I'm an officer. You have tremendous corruption within your profession, my friend. So I didn't want to drive. And I wouldn't. And they do that to women. They're making a defense for the death of Sandra Bland. And that cop, they're trying to portray him as, let me tell you what that cop did. Forget his name. And get them damn friggin' cowboy hats off your heads. You play into the whole idea of the South being a racist bigots. Don't you see that plays into it? I've been in the South now since 1980. And when the media and MSNBC see these things, and you play into the mindset, well, I'm not going to take... We need to dismantle, by federal decree, all of these so-called law enforcement agencies. They need to be dismantled. They're unable and incapable of enforcing law. So I didn't ride for a few years. Because they take their criminal activity and they use it with the whole force of what they have in their jobs. That's what they use. And if any one of them are being closed in on for criminal activity, the whole day they go. I used to go to a job where you have dispatch, you have... But in these types of law enforcement agencies, when they're going after the civilian population, they have all day to utilize all the tools of tracking your phone, following your vehicle. No other, this is why I'm trying to let you guys see, there's no other professional career where if you causing people to give you sexual favors on the street, because no one will believe you because you're a drug addict and you've been on the street for years, and nobody will ever believe that you were forced to do sexual favors for an officer by threat of imprisonment. So you do it. And there's no other profession that if you do not comply with the wishes of the illegal criminal, that they then can follow you legally and just wait. Just wait. So what are some of the nitpicky things that they have done to your friends, John? Oh, riding your bicycle. And you didn't use your left hand turn when you just simply turned your bicycle. That's a crime. John, that's not... Use any little thing. Well, yes it is. And then we get you for that, or... Yes it is. And they've done that to my friends. Some of them that are on Facebook. Criminals. Absolute criminals. So today I got to go make sure I put my trespassing signs some more. Make sure, because many years ago when I was in Kingsville, there was some gang families, and I worked with a lot of these families. And the name I'm going to mention is not a gang family, okay? I'm going to mention another family who you've seen on some of the videos. But I was at the firehouse one day, and there was this one family, Campos, I believe. I almost was forgetting the name, but either way, they had a lot of history of problems. But one of those brothers became a deputy. This is many years ago. And I remember I ran into one of the sisters once, something like, and I remember saying, oh yes, I heard your brother's deputy. But this guy took he was on the beach at spring break, this is 20-something years ago. Shot, killed somebody's dog. Oh, it was a big thing. You know, you don't discharge your weapon. They murder people. Well, dogs to them are nothing. And because the dog barked, killed the dog right on the beach, spring break. pursued people. And I believe it was the same. I told that story once. I was driving home from work in my truck one day, and he wasn't the city cop of Kingsville. I knew the city cops, by the way. They were my friends. But he was a deputy for the county, Claybrook County. Man, one day, and his deputy, he must have been doing 100 miles an hour. And I thought maybe he's going to a run. And I was coming back to Corpus on a county road. Almost ran me. And I was doing like 70 or almost. And man, I thought. So I was in my uniform still. And then he just turned around. I called 911 Bishop or whatever. I said, you got some nut that almost just ran. Why would they do that? I think it probably was him. If they want the vehicles to swerve, they need to get a ticket. These are criminals. These are absolute non-stop criminals, these guys. Absolute. Absolute. The most, since the beginning of the universe. The point of singularity. The universe is, I don't want to debate creation and the universe. I believe in creation. Universe is what? 18 billion. Now, that's the estimate. 14, they lowered it. No, it's now 14 billion. Since the beginning of the creation, I've never seen such efficient criminal minds. So that's how I've been this morning. But I was at the fire department one day, and they were talking about that family, because some of my younger firemen knew some of that family. They were saying, oh, they did this, oh, they went on a run, and he shot somebody, and they were like saying, wow, that family is so dangerous. And I had a friend of mine who's dead. His name is BB. His nephews are on my Facebook. I don't know if they ever knew their uncle. He died many years ago. Rolando Ramirez. But I remember Rolando, BB, beat the hell out of one of those gang guys one day at some club. Just came out of the club. BB was very, very, he died, BB. And I said, because they were saying how tough that family was. I said, my friend kicked that guy's ass one day, and that was it. They shut up. Because they were talking about a shooting that happened, and that family, the other family was involved. I remembered that. So Sandra Bland. Why, John? Let me tell you, when these guys are pursuing drug deals, sexual favors, threatening to murder people, and then they close in on any one of them, the number one way they can instigate is a moving violation. And if they cannot get the violation, they will even try to run you off the road to get anything on their camera. The camera won't be on when they're swerving. But then when they see they move the vehicle, this guy's going to kill me, then the camera comes on, the dash cam. Oops, it's on. See, they swerved. Efficient criminal minds. So, I didn't drive for a long time. I took the bus. I heard a story yesterday. So, the Sandra Bland. What's wrong with Sandra Bland? This girl, making her new life here in Texas, was simply driving. Simply driving. And on the other side was one of those so-called law enforcement, the ones with the nice cowboy hats, that play into the whole bigotry that the country sees about the South. You continue to play into it. And he spun his vehicle around like there was something. And Miss Bland, like most people, would think that he was going on a run, like he got a cold. Oh, because he spun it around quickly. So she was, like a lot of people, they'll move their vehicle over, and sometimes they'll stop. And you, depending on the law in your state, you don't have to stop. But sometimes people pull to the right and stop, which is fine. I used to drive fire trucks. People did that for me. So she was scared, thinking, not scared yet. And so she moved over. And lo and behold, that criminal pulled right behind her. Oh my, she must think, it's me. But I wonder what he has. I wonder what he saw. Besides, my skin is black. I wonder what he saw that caused him to wake up that morning while there are murders, crimes committed by people that wear those types of uniforms. I wonder what he saw that this has to be his day today, to be in his little cop vehicle, to do that to a beautiful young black woman. And so he approaches her vehicle. This is one of millions of examples. What did I do? You pulled over without your blinker. Yo, but I thought you were going to shut. Put your cigarette out. I'm not allowed to smoke. Oh, you're questioning my illegal activity because I have no right to tell you to put your cigarette. Get out. I'm going to light your ass up, woman. And so her entire mentality is not, I got to watch out for a gang group. I got to watch out for these criminals. These criminals wearing uniforms. And then they stick her in a cell. Do you have nooses at another hanging? Do you have nooses just set up in the cells? Do you stick their heads in the nooses? Let me ask you that. You just had another hanging. Just read it yesterday. Some kid. You know what those criminal cops did? It's in the paper. If somebody dies in your custody, which we have a lot of those here. A lot of those here. If somebody dies in your custody, your department has you in custody, county jail, city jail. Then there's an investigation. We got to find out why. So you know what they did? I think the guy was 20-something years old. I think it's here in Texas. I just read it. But he hung himself in the jail. And now he was in like a coma or something and in the hospital. And the paper, I also heard it on the AP News, or the news I listen to, I don't know, the one you always hear me talking about, the liberal news, NPR. And it reported that he was not in custody. He was, I forget the way they used it, but they said something like, not that they dropped the warrant on him, simply because after he hung himself and didn't die yet, they had a few days that, let's get rid of the warrant, let's drop it, and then we have no accountability for his death. That's what they did. So they used a title on the victim who died, and they said like an ex-prisoner or an ex, but when he died, we had nothing to do with him because they did a bunch of paper. They would have never dropped a warrant. That's why they arrested him, for whatever warrant he had. Criminal minds. Cover up every track you can do. So I didn't drive for a while. I didn't drive. And we deal with terrorism this last 2 weeks. That's a big thing, terrorism. Oh, we're going to live in fear. You know how many black people I'll never forget that case. I saw a news thing, documentaries a while ago. Young black girl living in one of these areas where a lot of the white conservatives just like they defend, certainly nothing goes wrong. This young black girl, her first spat with the law. Drugs, prostitution. She's like 12, 13. White cop. She's crossing, living even in like public housing. Going to school, didn't use the crosswalk. Ticket, use the crosswalk, bitch. Black bitch, use it. Ticket, oh how wonderful, Mr. Officer, Mr. Criminal in a uniform. The mother couldn't pay the ticket. She was poor, living in poverty. And I forget if she had to go to jail or the girl. You say, yeah, I'm not lying. I might have got one. I'm not lying. That's why they used that story on that documentary to show it. And the ticket built up and built up and built up. And either the girl or the mother was responsible and sat in jail. But to that community, it was a sort of maybe like Camden, New Jersey community. The officers are very comfortable. It's not a big thing for them. if people have histories, it's not a big thing for a cop to say, give me a blowjob, and if you do not give me a blowjob, you're going to jail today. And the I'll shit again. It's almost, it becomes comfortable. So you have absolute, non-stop criminal activity with these people wearing uniforms. And you cannot stop them. And if you would ask me today, who's worse? The law enforcement agencies, or I would say ISIS is not worse. Because the crimes they've committed here in this country, the deaths or terrorist acts, are much less than the non-stop crimes that you have seen. They do not have vehicles all over this country right now with so-called law enforcement who have all types of connections of crimes. They don't have that. There was a police union out in the West Coast that was in bargaining negotiations. I'm familiar with that. I used to bargain for the contract for the fire department. And during their bargaining negotiations, there was a city commissioner or councilman, different names they use in different areas. And one of them, and we used to bargain with the commissioners in Kingsville for our contract, collective bargaining. We were a union. One of the first in this area was the Kingsville Fire Department, Local 2390, the International Association of Firefighters. And in the bargaining negotiations, that one commissioner who kind of, was tough, he didn't want to give a lot of benefits to the cops, and I believe it was California. What they did, what those criminals did, referring to people that wear uniforms, what those criminals did was they targeted that commissioner. And he was out one night, and I think he was ex-alcoholic, sober, because when you hear the story, they were at some, a bar restaurant, but he would not drink. So I had the feeling the commissioner, I read the whole story a few years ago. So he purposely did not drink because he's sober. Like me, 3 years, you don't want to ruin your clean day. But they saw him drinking like a 7-Up or something. Who saw him? He was there with his wife or whoever he was with. One of the other officers that was there off duty or whatever, he saw him. So here's your criminal mind, which is the most amazing criminal mind since the Big Bang. He called his cop buddies and made a false call. Everything they're not out solving crimes. They're either murdering, raping, killing, or just said, hey, pull this. The commissioner that is giving us a hard time because we want more money and benefits, he's here, and I think he's drinking. So we got busted. And nothing happened, I don't think, to this cop. And they said, go ahead and check him out. Well, that commissioner drove home. And when he got home, cops, cops, people that could be out enforcing law. But no, they got more to do than that. They got much more to do than that. They knocked on his door and said, come out. What? We have reason to believe you were driving DUI, swerving on the highway, lying up their ass. The father of lies, and these are his disciples. I wasn't swerving. Come out to your fucking house. We're cops. We do what we want. So that commissioner, I don't remember if it came out or not, but he did this little, yes, I'll bow to you. ISIS can't do that. Cops do it all the time. ISIS does not do that on that level in the United States. So, he was shocked. They did the test. He wasn't drinking. He was sober. Then he found out that through the manipulation that I just explained, that was all just a setup, thinking maybe we'll catch him. Oh, John, isn't that illegal? Remember, criminals commit criminal activities from sunup to sunset, because Scripture calls that children of the father of lies. John 8:44. You are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he's a liar. He's the father of lies. So all of that was lies, using the power of the badge. And that commissioner tried to fight. What happened to those officers? And what happened? Well, didn't he complain or show it to the officer? I don't know the rest of nothing as far as I knew happened. So today, I make my ride. I got to go put trespassing sentence because of you're worried that your daughter might have. No, I'm worried about criminals that wear uniforms, criminals who follow vehicles, criminals who, and after Sandra Bland hung herself in the cell, they looked at that. They looked at that whole thing. They're suing now to get everything out. The determination as of this day is that that officer did everything right. They didn't ask, did he have any reason to pull her? They said he was justified in pulling her over because she didn't use her blinker. But they didn't ask, but what about if a cop turns around 100 miles an hour and pursues you, and the woman, out of honesty, thinks he's going on a run? And oh no, we don't question that. If our officers want to run around with their guns pointing at your heads, maybe they thought, what about the cops that there were two black people who drove past, this is the news, drove past the cop station and their car backfired. National news. I make none of these up. And when the car backfired in front of the police station, it sounded like gunshots. Maybe it did. So the cops that were there, I don't even know the state, I talked about this, they got in, let's pursue this vehicle. Now the guy, it might have been in one of those bad areas of the town, and they were black, and the guy was scared. Now he might have had a ticket thing, because this is, I'll tell you the rest of it. And they thought he was driving away because of the big thing, like, oh, gunshot or whatever, but it wasn't. There was nothing on him. So finally they got that vehicle over, but the cops were mad because he was fleeing. And they were shot 17, the black man and the black woman, whose car backfired, who later, no crime. They were just scared of the cops. And one cop was on the windshield. Saw the pictures. 17 shots into that woman's head and that man's head. Beautiful black couple who backfired. 17. Went to court, realizing, oops, we murdered the wrong people. The judge said, because we cannot tell you specifically that it was the officer who was on the windshield shooting through, we cannot tell you his bullets were the death bullet, because the other cops outside also shot. And he said, because the ballistics, the judge said, because the ballistics cannot say specifically it was his bullet, scot-free. Does that happen in society with a civilian? No, in society with a civilian, everyone that shot, even those that didn't shoot, are considered accessories to the crime. But yet with these criminals, it's considered a wonderful, loving thing. So today, I got to go put up no trespassing, not because I got to worry about criminals in uniforms who are nonstop. So this video should be the real ISIS, because this happens on a scale in this country nonstop. Nonstop. You say, are every one of them criminals? They have the resources that no other career has to commit these things. I know of no one else that can go out today under guise of their career and force people to give them blowjobs on the side of the road. And that other vehicle's passing, all they see is a cop car pulling over some woman or some guy and saying, oh, there's no other thing. There's no other one that they wait for you to be on a country road and pull you out like that air traffic controller in Kingsville I wrote about, a black air traffic controller who told his story here at a forum in Corpus Christi a few years ago. One of the, I don't know if it was a Kingsville cop or not, he was leaving the base, he was an air traffic controller, and that cop or deputy waited for him to be on one of the country roads, the ones I drive, the ones I'll be driving today. Pulled him over for no reason. And the air traffic controller, when he told the story here at some black forum, said he used racial epithets, nigger. What you doing, nigger? What? I'm stationed at the base. I'm an air traffic controller. I didn't ask you how successful you are, nigger. I want to know what you're doing, nigger. He requested that officer's badge, and you got no fucking right for my badge, man. Don't you understand I'm a cop? Which means I break the laws of man continually, nonstop, from sunup to sunset. And he never gave that air traffic controller his name. And he got away with it to continue to pursue civilians. Now you ask me, are they more worried about ISIS or are they worried about them? Did ISIS give a ticket to that beautiful 12-year-old black child whose mom couldn't pay, and either the mom or the daughter first time in jail? Did ISIS do that? So now I'm telling you, the threat of terror, I'm not afraid today that ISIS is going to bomb my ass. I'm not afraid that a cop will shoot my ass. But the danger of a cop pulling shit is 1 million times higher. So I'll title this The Most Effective Criminal Minds Since the History of Man.